We're back. Welcome back, guys, to another episode of the HUSLA Podcast. I'm sitting here today with Lochie and Anthea, and it's going to be a bit of a change of pace today. It's going to be a little bit different. We're going to go deep today. There might be some trigger warnings or some deep stuff that might bring out some emotion. So stay tuned, guys. It's going to be very real. And we're going to talk about how Lochie got here. And we're going to do the giveaway, of course, which is going to be...
I'll tell them. Yeah, we're gonna do a HUSLA Media giveaway. So for anyone out there who does content or is interested in doing content, I'm going to give away a reel. Whether you film something and you want me to edit it for you, that's fine. Or if you're around here, come in, we'll film a reel together and I'll edit it for you. Or if you just want general content advice, whether that's education on editing or anything like that, we'll sit down, we'll edit something together, and I'll show you how we work. So, but we'll do that. We'll run that at the end, and we're giving away from Sawan's podcast too.
Yes. Consultation, free jumper.
Unreal.
Free jumper
so
consultation.
Stick around.
Now, I will, before we start, just want to double check that mic is in a good position there for you, Loch.
We looking good? I think so.
I mean, it does not need to be.
No, we're good. We're good.
He's
here.
the man.
It's weird.
I'm telling him how to do his work.
Like when you first started talking, I was like, I looked out and I'm like, hang on, I'm supposed to be sitting over there. It's very different being on this side this time.
We've got Mona behind the scenes today.
Yep.
She's got a mic pointed directly at her if she wants to chime in.
Just in case if she wants to talk.
Yeah. Mona can jump in as well.
So I think we should essentially start off by figuring out how'd you get here? Like that's probably the first question. It's been a journey, I know.
It has been an absolutely wild journey. So in terms of like here at HUSLA Media, I always wanted to do something in terms of media. When I was really little, I used to take mum and dad's camera at home and I'd like set it up on the decking, jump on the trampoline, do as many backflips in a row as I could. Then I would use mum's laptop to edit on Windows Movie Maker. I'd put Skrillex over the top and then I would post it as like, what was it called? It's on YouTube. It's like called My Backflips or something like that. I made like a montage of me just doing flips in my backyard.
I used to do that too. With sparklers.
Yeah. Oh my God. I didn't have sparklers.
Sparklers, dunking. So I used to put the trampoline underneath the basketball ring and we used to do like crazy dunks and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I used to film it.
We've got stuff like that because it progressed. As I got older, I wanted a GoPro when GoPro was coming out. And
of course you did.
Yeah, I got in a lot of trouble because in primary school, there's like a walkway between two classrooms and I wanted to jump between the roofs over the walkway. And I jumped between the roofs and got someone to take a photo and I posted that.
Oh my gosh.
And my mum saw it on Facebook. And so I got banned from having a camera.
No way.
So for so long, I wasn't allowed to have a camera.
Wait, so you jumped roof to roof?
Yeah, roof to roof.
At primary school or high school?
Yeah, between, like the classrooms they bring in on the
Primary
massive
or high?
trucks. Primary school.
Oh, yeah.
You jumped roof to roof in primary school?
Yeah. And I think it was
gosh.
between year 6 and year 7 on the school holidays.
Wow.
Yeah, so I wasn't allowed a camera. I wasn't allowed to get a GoPro. They're like, you're going to hurt yourself. And
I just want to do cool tricks.
I did, and mum bought me a shirt, and it was a brown shirt with a huge warning symbol on it, and it was warning, I do dumb things. And I wore it for so long. But yeah,
you would have loved it.
I was like, this is mad. I was like, I do dumb shit.
Yeah.
Oh, it was.
That's your identity.
Yeah, but the time eventually came where we got the GoPro, and that was it. Like my mates, like Matt, Jet, all those boys were sponsored skaters at the time. So we were at St Kilda Skate Park like every afternoon, filming edits. I was getting into BMX and racing downhill mountain bikes. So I was making just YouTube edits, and then the camera, it didn't even shoot 1080p in slow-mo. It was a disgusting resolution. And we were making slow-mo edits, and then I was doing reverse videos and trying to do special effects and stuff and just editing it all on a laptop. And I couldn't afford to pay for any professional editing software. So I downloaded a trial of Premiere Pro and gave my mum's computer a virus because I was watching tutorials on how to crack the Premiere Pro to trick it into thinking I had a trial forever, which worked. But the computer, I got so much malware and trouble on the computer. Yeah, it was busted, but it worked, and we started making videos for ages. It was heaps of fun. It's all, I think, all archived on my YouTube channel under Lochie Carey. There's the most busted stuff on there.
Yeah, I could imagine.
Oh, the craziest montages and
I forgot you did down bike riding.
Yeah, down bike. Yeah, that was
downhill bike
I like
riding.
down bike riding. Yeah, I wonder what that'd look like.
Down bike riding.
Yeah, I raced. It was weird. Like I played footy, I did all that kind of stuff, and then I saw this video on YouTube, which was edited mad, and it was Red Bull Rampage, which is in Utah. They ride in like the canyons and they just jump off cliffs, and I was like, I want to do that. So I got into BMX. I always rode BMXs, and then finally I got my first job working at a push bike store, and it was weird because the day I was 14, 9 months, Dad's like, "You're going to Red Rooster? That's where your mum and I met. That's where we had our first job. We're going to Red Rooster." I had an interview the day I was old enough.
Wow.
I got the job. They're like, "We'll order your you will order your outfit." I was like, "Mad, I'm going to make money." So to celebrate, Dad and I went to the bike shop to buy a push bike. And then the manager at the bike shop was like, "Do you want a job?" The same day. And I was like,
No way.
"Yes." So I quit Red Rooster the day I got hired and started at a bike shop, which was mad because it was a good job. Yeah, it was crazy. It was a good job. And I got to buy bikes super cheap. So it took us like a year and a half, and we had 14 bikes sitting in the
Good.
backyard at Dad's place.
Yeah.
So I got into racing downhill mountain bikes, and that was a sport I did for so many years. I think I did okay. When I raced in the short travel category, I think I finished like third in Victoria for one season.
Wow.
So much fun. Yeah, risky business. Dad used to ride as well, and
Dude, I can
he used
imagine.
to stack so hard.
Yeah, I've only seen like I've seen rough videos. On like reels or like I've seen good and bad. Like some of the good ones are like flying off cliffs and like somehow landing on shit and then doing backflips from like your
it's crazy.
building to building jump.
Yeah.
That, but like cliff.
And
then I've seen them hit trees and shit.
Yeah, dude, I've got like scars along my knuckles from just clipping trees all the time. My mate one time crashed and he pushed his finger back into his hand.
Oh.
Yeah, it was pretty gnarly. But we would like, crashing was common, but it was expected. It's like, it's kind of like a rally except on a push bike. Like you kind of go one after another at 30-second intervals, and the fastest time down the hill, no matter how you get there, is like the winner. So
That is crazy.
It's mad. Yeah, it's a super niche sport. Like I've been to Mount Buller 10, 15 times, but once in the snow. I'm there in the peak of summer. There's grass everywhere, but we ride the chairlifts and we put our bikes on the chairlifts.
Wow.
It's mad.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's good fun. But my mate Louis fell off the chairlift with his bike, and so they banned us using the chairlifts anymore. So people have to catch a shuttle bus up now.
No way.
All because of you.
Yeah, you sit on the chairlifts,
Louis.
and you bring the arm down to stop you falling out. But because we have our bike with us, we leave the railing up, and they let us hook the seat onto the seat of our bike on the seat of the thing. And he thought his bike was going to fall, and he leant forwards, and trying to catch it, he just fell like face first out of the chairlift and fell a few meters. He was lucky; it happened at the start, but yeah, that was the end of the chairlifts. But yeah.
Wow. So apart from crazy BMX sports and stuff, take us back to video editing and like how that sort of progressed for you.
In high school.
Yeah, so I did media through school, but I never had access to a good camera. Again, I always worked on the GoPro, and I didn't have much to film, so it was always montages of my mates skating and us riding and whichever else, but it kind of stayed there. And then I did media in high school, and I got the opportunity to do like a big project, and I made a music video called Us, which is I think on YouTube maybe. I don't know if it's archived or not. And that was my first shot at actually making something with some form of narrative to it. And I loved it. In terms of like studying media, all of the theory work was actually based on understanding like target audiences and like current trends in media. And all we did was study like the bias of different news outlets and stuff. So I was so tapped out when we studied media, and I got really low marks in the theory, but in the practical, like I was getting full marks. And we had a like film festival night for McKinnon for the year 12s that studied, and I won the film night, which is the best feeling.
Yeah, that's the film with Frankie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that the split screen?
Yeah.
one?
Yeah.
So cool.
I love that one. That was a lot of fun to film. That was a logistical nightmare because when you storyboard something you're filming, each like shot, it's one shot, but for us, because it was split screen nearly the entire time, it was like a double storyboard, and I had to shoot everything twice. So it took a lot. I didn't expect it to take so long to do, but it killed me getting it done, but it was like I was very happy with it.
Yeah,
in the
man.
end,
Like
so-
almost like that was an emotional video. Like almost brought a tear to my eye when I was watching it. You know?
Yeah.
And that was year 12?
Yes, yeah. For those that haven't seen it, it's a music video to Claire de Lune, which everyone now knows as the Telstra ad song.
Yeah.
And it's a story of like two students that are like struggling at school. They sort of have isolated themselves and they're stuck in a repetition. And then through like just some miracle, their paths cross. And as their paths cross, the split screen ends and the shots merge together. And then everything brightens up and they film They form a really nice bond. And then something happens and they separate once again. And then in the end, obviously, they come back together and they hug and the shots merge. So, yeah, that was really fun to do. But that was the beginning of like any form of, like I said, narrative work for video. And it all kind of went from there. But after school finished...
Didn't you get like an opportunity from that?
Well... It was interesting. Once school finished, it all stopped, and I wasn't sure what direction I wanted to go in. Like I was looking at universities. I did open days for the different unis for studying media and doing TV and television stuff, but none of it interested me for some reason. I'm not sure. And then on the school holidays after year 12, I got an offer to be a car salesman at Lexus, which came like out of nowhere. One of the boys I worked with at the bike store. He went to Lexus and he's like, hey, we're hiring for a salesman. Do you want to come and interview? And I rolled in like with no suit, like whatever else. I was still working at the bike shop. And no, that's not what happened. The manager of Lexus came in and bought a bike off me. And he said that Brendan, who used to work there, works for him. And he's like, do you want to come and interview at Lexus? That's right.
Yep.
So I did the interview and somehow got the job and I took it. So
you would have sold the shit out of him on a bike.
Oh yeah,
He's like,
yeah.
Well,
it was him and his son, and it was like I spend a lot of time selling bikes to like families and their kids and like teaching them and setting them up on a bike that they can actually learn to ride on. But here's something: people who set their training wheels down flat on the ground so that all wheels are contacting at once are creating bad habits, and it's actually going to slow down how quickly you learn to ride a bike. You need your training wheels to be up so that they teeter on them, so that they actually, once they establish their own sense of balance, which they will get, they will be off the training wheels. And the second they can ride in a straight line without them, get rid of them.
Yep.
You hear that, kids?
Yeah, you hear that?
Any kids out there?
Yeah. Any kids
Lift them up a bit. Lift them up. They need to be floating.
But so I would always like hammer that home when teaching families how to like teach their kids to ride bikes. And he was one of the guys I sold a bike to, and I somehow like got the job there. And so I let go of everything and started there. But that was, I was like 18, that was 55 hours a week. And
Wow, long
it was
hours.
8 a.m. till 6 p.m. and a 45-minute drive either way. And I worked Saturdays. So I went from school to like...
What's new?
Yeah.
Yeah, doing the same shit
More
now.
of a passion, I think. Yeah. But it was a huge commitment, and all my friends were like going overseas, and everyone was like having gap years, and that's what I wanted to do. But I had the opportunity to try a job like that, and I couldn't say no. So I gave it a crack, which was good. But that came at the time that I had been in a relationship all through like the last few years of senior school. And my girlfriend at the time, she was going to go have a gap year and go off to Europe. And she was going to do 3 months, I think it was, in Europe. And she came home one day and she's like, I'm going to Europe. I was like, yeah. She's like, oh, I'm going to do it on my own. And I was like, yeah. She's like, nah, like I'm going to do it on my own. And so one night she broke up with me, and like 3 days later she was off in Europe.
Rough.
Wow.
Oh yeah, at the time, very rough.
So unexpected.
Yeah. So that was a bit of a shock, and so I stopped working at Lexus. I kind of let go of all of that, and there was a period of probably 3 or 4 months where I didn't do anything.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, most of us have all experienced a heartbreak, and when you're 19, you had your high school sweetheart, that's your whole world. So it was definitely a big shock.
Yep.
And at the time, there was nothing else more important to me than that. So I spent a lot of time just sitting in my room. I didn't do much, didn't eat. I lost a lot of weight. So
how'd you get yourself out of it?
Well, that's the thing. That's where fitness came in. I'd always been like active in terms of sport, but and I'd rolled into Bentley Fitness Centre every now and then through high school. Like everyone's been there. But I couldn't sleep at night. So what I did was I rolled down to the IGA in East Bentley, and there was a Fit 24/7 there, like a little pigeon box gym. And I signed up, and I would go at like 10, 11 o'clock at night when I couldn't sleep, and I would just train until I exhausted myself, and that would allow me to sleep. And then, because I didn't have a job, like nothing, I just woke up the next morning and would just go back to the gym and muck around. And I think I paid for like, it might have been 6-pack shortcuts. Or
Six-pack shortcuts, what's
Mike
that?
Chang.
The Mike Chang.
Oh, I
Yeah,
don't know
he's
what
like
that is.
this like guy on the internet. It was something like that. And you picked the body type that you wanted, and then he would just give you a workout for that. And it was like a 3-day rotation. I never trained legs, like hence why I've been hammering them lately. And I just did like dips. What did I do? Dips, bicep curls, bench press. Like it was such a basic 3-day split. And I just did it every day, like without stopping. And I think it was months and months of training like that. And I initially started training purely just to exhaust myself to sleep.
Quieten the thoughts. Relax, get to bed.
Yeah, and then I realized that the training itself was actually making me feel good.
Yeah.
And then when I was able to get to sleep, because this was in the mix of, here's a problem. When the breakup happened and whatever else, I got help, obviously. And with everything that was going on, they suggested that I stopped working. So
Really?
yeah. So like I quit my
interesting.
job. They put me on like antidepressants and whichever else, and I took those. And the first day I took those, that was when I went into to quit Lexus, and like I was like just fully numb. Like there was no feeling, there was no emotion. Like I felt nothing. And so I realized that I needed to find, for me, I needed to find something else to try and make things feel better. I didn't want to rely on like, the doctor telling me to take something to be the solution, because I was like, I don't think it is. I think it's just like masking what's happening. And like, to be fair, like you can't control going through a breakup. Like that's always going to hurt. So I definitely needed time to heal. But I think I wanted to try and direct my attention to doing something like training to try and help me
More holistically.
Yeah, and it worked, because it allowed me to form a habit that made me feel better, and that allowed me to not rely on taking something to try and help me mask what was going on. And then progressively I weaned myself off. I was able to eat more, because I was, for perspective, like before I started this cut, I was 85 kilos. And when I started training after the breakup, after a few months, I was 68 kilos at the same height. So very skinny.
You're 6 foot and a bit.
6 foot. Yeah. So I was very, very skinny. But it's what happens, I think.
It's crazy, because the gym is also a place that gives you a lot of autonomy and confidence and purpose. It's more than just, having some good endorphins or, you really feel a sense of purpose and autonomy and confidence with the gym.
You have to start and complete the mission as well.
Yeah.
So you set out to do something, and then you tick that off every day, and it proves to you that you can do it, even though it's controlled torture in the gym. Well, that's what I like to,
torture.
it is. Like you're literally going to the gym and you're just torturing yourself. Like it's not easy. It hurts.
Well, you're building resilience, really.
Exactly.
You're doing things that are hard, and you build resilience against that, and you get stronger and more fitter, and it's awesome.
Yeah, I wanted some resilience, and I wanted I just needed like a sense of direction and something to do. And it was weird that when you're in that state, it's different. All I wanted to do was be tired so I could sleep. So I just went and wrecked myself. But then it changed very quickly, and I learned that like being healthy and feeling better physically was like the biggest thing ever. I felt better. I slept better. Like because I didn't train at all. When I was at Lexus, I didn't exercise. Through year 12, I was only exercising in the sports that I was doing. So I was active, but I wasn't doing any sort of strenuous exercise or weightlifting. I'm not saying that you have to weightlift to feel better, but when I really started focusing on that, and then I was taking protein and like checking the food that I was eating and changing all of that, because I was either not eating or I was eating shit. So it changed, everything. I got confidence back. I obviously made a very big physical change to my body. I had newbie gains. I was eating a lot. I was dirty bulking. I was eating a bit of anything. I got a job back at the bike store. So I went back there. I was having
Same one?
Pardon?
Same bike shop.
Same bike shop. Yeah. I was having a HSP for lunch every day. Breakfast was a big brekkie burger from McDonald's. And dinner was just like whatever I could get my hands on. So I was eating a lot. I was eating a lot of fat, but because I had none when I started training, I was super lean.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, I thought I'm going to get back into doing video. And I gave a little bit of acting a crack, which was heaps of fun. I just wanted to do extra work. So I did some stints on Neighbours. I did some big movies and stuff. Yeah.
Oh my
I was like,
I was obsessed with Neighbours. I went to the set once because one of my
Friends and neighbours she loves.
My old primary school best friend lived literally right behind the set in Forest Hill.
Yeah.
It was the
Fremantle Studios or something.
Yeah. And we'd always like go to the fence and just watch. And then one day someone came up to the fence and they're like, would you want to like go inside and have a look one day? So then we went in and like watched them film and like,
that's so cool.
Yeah, got all their autographs and stuff.
Oh, that's so cool. That's so good. Yeah, I didn't do anything special. Oh my gosh, that reminds me. This is later in the story, but I auditioned for Neighbours once and I like butchered it worse than I've butchered anything in my life. Like, it was so embarrassing. Yeah, I did extra work and whatever else. But yeah, if we fast track through the story after modelling and everything else had started, I had an agent pushing me to do a bit of acting stuff, and I was doing music videos, which I really enjoyed. But I had no training. I don't consider myself a talented actor or anything like that. And then I got the opportunity to cast for a small role in Neighbours for this episode. I was being casted as like a bully in a boxing gym or something. And one of the leads
not you.
Yeah, and one of the leads had walked in and maybe had misstepped because I didn't understand the environment. And I talked around, I was like, come on then, like, let's go. So I like G'd up to fight them. And my dad was telling me, he's like, when you audition for things, when you do stuff like that, you give it 100%. Like you get as involved into it as you can. Like, because in the script, it's like he takes his shirt off and gets into it. And I was like, you're right. Like, fucking, I'm going to really get into it. I'm going to take the shirt off in the audition. And I didn't realize how low key of an audition it was. And so there was a camera set up with like the Neighbours casting directors there. I'm in like this little like office space in South Yarra. Was it South Yarra? No, St Kilda. And they're like, let's do it. And I full got into it. I took my shirt off. I was like doing these ones, like ready to go. And we finished and I stopped and she was like, yeah, okay. She's like, let's just do that again, but you don't have to do any of that stuff or anything like that. Like, please just like, tone it down and just sort of say your lines. And I was like, oh. I was full in, like bouncing around in the room at this camera.
It shows that you're passionate. You were trying.
If you guys are listening out there, Neighbours, and you have that footage, can you please send it to us?
Because the people
content at hustlercoaching.com.
Yeah.
Send it to us, please.
The people that cast for Neighbours have been acting for a long time. They've been to Wapara or they've been to all these places and they know how to audition based off what they're looking for. That was my second ever actual audition, and the first one was for a university project for university students. So,
did you match that energy for the university?
No, the first audition I ever did was for a university project called I don't remember the name of it. Anyway, it's a world where it was for an LGBT community, and it was a world where the roles were switched, so everyone was LGBT. And it was abnormal to be hetero.
Yeah. Wow.
And so they were casting a kid with toxic masculinity syndrome that's stuck in a family of like two female parents. And I have like lots of siblings that are part of the community. And I walked into this casting and like, again, gave it everything. And just being me, this is in the peak of after I'd been like scouted for modeling and whichever else. So I was shooting all the time. The physique was good. There was definitely an ego. And I rolled into this casting and auditioned for it. And they were like, you are exactly what we're looking for. And I barely said anything. So
I just be myself.
I was like, I just get to be me, I guess. Yeah. And I did this, we did this shoot. It was like a multi-day shoot in this apartment. And it was a university project. It was nothing special. But for me, it was very intense because it was dialogue heavy. It touched on like very strong themes of everything being switched over. And I realized that like out of the whole story, like I was the problem and I was the comedic part of it because I'm gonna say it. It's like a little bit rude, but it's like a mockumentary. So it was like
It's like
Modern Family. It was like Modern Family the way they filmed it. So where I would sit down and they would interview me, like, you know, as part of the family.
Wait, so you were the straight guy?
I was the straight
in,
guy
sort of
in
like
the
Barbie.
LGBT world.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like the abnormal one in the family.
Yeah. So the
what's
piss
the-
was just getting taken out of you.
Yeah. Which was fine. It's part of, I guess, it's
You
the
are
narrative. It's the
exactly
role.
what we need.
Yeah.
We just need to
I
hammer
did-
this person.
Yeah. Because they told me that, like, we walked in and and when we were filming, they're like, yeah, when you came in for your audition, like, we were like, we got him. Like, we got him straight away. I'm trying to remember my line. They sat me down for an interview after so many things had happened because I was always like in denial and like pushing against the views of the people in my family that I was casted with. And what was it? My line was, repressing my sexuality led to toxic masculinity syndrome. Nah, I've always been straight up all about that pussy. That was my line, and that was like the end of the documentary. It was so busted. Yeah. We'll have to bleep that, but
Wait, do we
It
actually
was-
have to bleep
No,
that?
I don't know.
It
But that
happened.
was my line. That was what it was. But
It's wild.
yeah, I did have a stint of like doing some acting stuff, and it was a wild world. Like the modeling world is just as crazy, but auditions are daunting.
So I think I completely like skimmed over it in the intro, but Lochie is a videographer here. He's also a model. So we've sort of just gone into it and explained
True.
it, but like Lochie does modeling essentially on the side.
Yeah,
theoretically.
like, well, essentially what happened was as I was getting into doing videography,
Yeah.
I didn't have a camera or anything like that. It took a long time for me to get a camera. So initially I was an editor for an inspirational YouTube channel in America, like the motivational, like,
No way.
you're not better than him or you or anybody, like those like over the top.
Dude, I
like,
didn't even know this.
yeah, 110% over the top editing. So they go out and film their own stock footage.
Yeah.
They get voice actors to do that. They give me the music, and then all of my assets come on a Google Drive, and then I would edit it. They'd give me a certain amount of time and a budget. I think it was $300 a video or something,
Yeah.
which for me was a lot of money at the time.
Yeah.
I'd never been paid to do any work that I'd done.
Yeah. And
And I
you would have
did-
just enjoyed it after hours anyway.
Yeah. And so I edited for a long time, and at the same time, I bought a camera. I started filming after movies for nightclubs, and it just had to be for the underage nights that they had at Pandora nightclub in the city. So I had to like film somewhat like engaging and interesting like after movies of crazy Melbourne house
Underage.
music, and it was all underage kids. It was so bad. It was like a house party gone wrong where everyone's making out with each other. Like it was so busted. Everything that
That's
the
all
people
they
were wearing.
just hooking up.
I was like, I shouldn't be in here. I shouldn't be filming this. And when you edit for nightclubs and stuff, like you have to edit in a certain way to make the ratios of guys to girls look good. And I'm like, these are kids. It was so busted. But the crew that I worked with in there,
These are kids.
it was busted. The crew that I worked with in there used to make fun of my jawline because had just come out of the breakup, so I was skinny as. And one day, one of them posted a photo of me like working, and there was downlighting, so the jawline looked all right.
Yeah.
And
It always looks all right.
It looks like that filter, that like Chad filter.
oh my god.
but Natty.
But nutty.
People. I'll tell that in a sec, actually. Yeah, so on that post, one of them commented #model as a joke. And on that hashtag, a photographer saw that photo and reached out and was like, hey, I think you should seriously consider doing a shoot. I've got a job for you. I was like, oh my God. So this is before I'd done any of the acting stuff. And I was like, why not? We'll give it a crack.
Hashtags work.
Yeah, they do. They absolutely work. It was ridiculous. And here's another story. The first shoot I ever did, got in the makeup, did whatever else, and I wore the suit. It was fun. I had no idea what I was doing. I looked like a baby. And then nothing is ever free in life. So a lot of models do these things called TFP, time for print, which is like a free shoot.
Yep.
How do I explain this? It's a free shoot. If you are actually genuinely collaborating with a photographer, they get photos out of it and you get to share them. So there's some really good artistic collaboration in terms of people starting out modeling.
I used to do some of them.
Yeah, and they can be really good, but it's a little. I found it was a little bit different the way that I started. I did a TFP shoot, and I was like, yeah, this is fine. And then halfway through, out of nowhere, I wasn't expecting it. A drag queen came out, And then like we were shooting video, so I had to sit in a chair and they were like moving their hands around my face, like whatever else, and like posing with me and stuff, which is fine. I just didn't expect it. It was a bit of a shock for the first shoot I ever did.
Yeah, they didn't tell you.
Pardon?
They didn't tell you.
Not that I remember.
Yeah.
Maybe. I
But
don't know.
this is your first shoot.
This is my first ever
That's
shoot.
wild.
Yeah, and then one thing led to another, and I did one shoot, and I got scouted for another shoot, and it was just through doing those, the exposure changed, and then I started doing some like videos to like the 2 feet music, like all that sexy music and whatever else. And
2 feet.
What's
2 feet is the, you know, the song is like boom, bam, 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 now. That was terrible. It's like the sexy music they put over videos, like The Weeknd and stuff.
Right.
People started like were doing video shoots and posting things like that. And then there was a period of time where people were like ripping thirst trap videos off the internet and then putting them on TikTok saying, he's a maths teacher and a model, oh my God, this is his and posting those. And a handful of them went like ridiculously viral. So my Instagram got a lot of traction. I started getting followers and whichever else, which led to more scoutings. And then eventually I started moving into doing book covers, which is now the majority of the modeling work that I've done, which I love. Because to be honest, the modeling industry is, I think it's an interesting place, and I wish that everyone could experience something like that because it's crazy. It doesn't feel like a job, but it's such a toxic place.
Yeah.
Yep.
I wanted to ask you about this.
Yeah, it's such a toxic place, particularly, and I really worry for girls getting into the modeling industry. Everyone out there now has access to a camera that shoots high quality photos. They can put filters on it. And I'm not saying like Photoshop, I just mean a filter to make it look nice. So everyone is now a TFP photographer. Everyone is now shooting girls in no clothes, in whatever else. And we don't know what they're doing with those libraries. And I see so many people starting, and it goes for guys as well. Like there was a period when I first started shooting where there were a lot of photographers, particularly one up in the Gold Coast, that seriously groomed and took advantage of men. And it was really sad. It was really busted to see. And it's even more so with women and these male hobbyist photographers that claim to be great and whatever else. They build a half decent looking Instagram feed and they tell these girls, I'm going to get you into modeling. But all it is hobbyist photography, and all of it is implied or it's nude. Then they'll shoot OnlyFans girls. And there are professionals that do a very good job at that, but it's very hard to find.
How do you find them?
No, this is the problem. It's hard to find a genuine photographer that actually wants to create or invest in you.
So what do you do for the people out there? What do you do to make sure? Like, do you need to have an agent, or like what would you do if someone came through now?
I think
it's hard.
Honestly, there's a harsh reality of everyone wants to be an Instagram model these days.
Yep.
So it's easy to be told by these hobbyist photographers, like, we're going to make you a model. But at the end of the day, there's still height restriction for most agencies. There's still like expectations, and it's very harsh. Like these restrictions on like how you're supposed to look in order to be a model create massive problems of their own.
Yeah.
And it caused problems for me.
I have a funny story about that. I did some modeling for this company that sort of had gone down, and then they were trying to like revive it again, this clothing company. And I had a good time, whatever. I did it for fun. I was never like, I'm going to be a model. And the guy at the end of it was like, you're amazing. You did such an amazing job, but you're just a little bit too short to be a model. I was like, I actually don't want to be a fucking model anyways, but thanks.
It's so busted.
And like, it's just like, all right, I'm just doing this for fun.
Yeah, the industry is, it's intense. And I did, like when I first started, I did a lot of castings for like big agencies in Melbourne. And a lot of them like had me in for interviews, whatever else. Sometimes they'd say, come back when your hair's longer and whichever else. Like I'm 6 foot, and if you want to get into agencies in Melbourne and do anything like runway or anything like that, you've really got to be over 6'2".
Yep.
And there's no exception. Like when I work in Asia, it's no problem at all. Here, it's a bit of a concern. It is changing now though. Like I've noticed the industry, particularly from when I've started to now, has really shifted and become more inclusive, which has been really nice. And it's actually been backed by the jobs that are being booked. So a lot of commercial work, which pays the most, is now bringing in less model-looking people, I guess, to do their jobs. And it's great because I actually think it looks better, to be honest. And it means that agencies are taking on more people, and it's putting less pressure on the expectations of you. So you have to look a certain way to be a model. But I have a massive like fire in my belly because I see girls being taken advantage of all the time by hobbyist photographers that are creeps. And they will be like, let's get in and do this. And then they keep pushing and they ask, like, are you comfortable doing this? Maybe take this off or whatever else. They might not post them, but these end up on their computers in their own private galleries.
Yep.
So I think it's important to find someone that you want to collaborate with, particularly if you're just starting, that you trust and isn't going to ask you to do anything that takes you out of your comfort zone.
Yep.
You don't have to wear no clothes in a photo shoot to be successful in any kind of modeling.
Yep.
All the top end models in the world, if that's what we want to compare ourselves to, they don't do stuff like that. So I have had countless offers and offers of a lot of money to shoot completely nude, to shoot full frontal. All that kind of stuff.
Yep.
But I have shot like very full-on implied stuff with nothing left to the imagination. But I know I can draw the line like that. I also
They're hot.
they're on the internet. But there's always a place where I'll draw a line because at the end of the day, particularly for modeling, you're selling a product usually. So if you're not wearing one, what are you selling? So I like to think of that a little bit.
Yep.
But there is also a form of art to doing stuff
definitely.
like that. And I've shot implied with nothing on, which has been like, and they've looked really good. Done professionally, they can come out really well. That's why it's important to just keep your eyes on the non-professional side of the now Instagram modeling world and the actual professional world. Like for me, they're two different things.
Yep.
Like I came up through Instagram modeling and then moved into like more professional modeling. And I still enjoy doing both of them, but just with the right people and people that I can trust. And I just worry because a lot of people want to do that these days and they get taken advantage of really quickly. I was very naive when I first started. So
There's also I've heard about it a lot with the female models. More so. You can correct me if I'm wrong, if it's, well, anyone really, but you've got to look a certain way. And a lot of that comes with like, starving yourself or being, you need to be 5 kilos down in the next 2 weeks for this shoot or whatever. And then that creates, your disordered eating patterns, and all that other shit as well, outside of like, some guy having a wank bank of you, or woman or whatever. But then there's also that side of it too, where you've got to make yourself look a certain way, whether it's a healthy method or not. There's
I used to walk into castings when I was in the peak of training, and we would put the shirts on for some fashion stuff, and there'd be a little gap in like the button in my shirt, and like, nope, get out. That was it. They just tell me to leave. So like my chest measurements were too big in proportion to everything else.
Lockie's got a massive chest. Guys, Lockie's chest is like phenomenal. It's like wide. It like pokes out. It's
because of the dips that I did. I thought I was training triceps, but I leant too far forwards, and I did dips every day through the breakups.
a lot of surface area on the chest. So that's why the show was popping.
Yeah. And I was like, I thought this was a good thing, and then I got no jobs, and so I stopped eating, I stopped training my chest, and I just deflated myself. And then I was like, holy shit, I am basing my entire life around maybe getting a job every 2 or 3 months that pays not that much if I was just working hard and becoming the person I wanted to be and let the work come to me that suits me. So I got rid of that. I trained and built the physique that I wanted and let the work come that suited who I actually am. And I stopped trying to change myself to try and fit into a certain type of modeling.
And that's not to say...
I think Mona had a question.
You did.
I was just going to ask.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like you've touched upon it a little bit, but what's the worst experience you've had? I mean, I feel like even the buttons and stuff like that was pretty bad.
It's got to be explicit.
No, yeah.
Explicit content.
There's been quite a bit. I mean, oh my gosh.
Too many to name.
Yeah, there's been a lot. There's just been a lot of uncomfortable situations and situations where I've had to put my foot down and say, like, no, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to shoot, wearing this or wearing that. My partner Verity, she has had a lot of experiences in shoots with like men like really like being very forward with their intentions, like standing over her, like trying to make moves. No, like they were in, this is a lot. This is like when we first, were in our relationship, she went and did a shoot wearing like some revealing stuff, like a really nice shoot. It was for me. And he knew of me, the photographer. He has a fiance, and in the middle of the shoot, like was making moves, was like being really forward with the stuff he was doing, standing over her when she was trying to change and trying to leave. And she like ended up in the bathroom, like waiting for an opportunity to try and get out. And I lost my shit. Like I called him and just went at him on the phone. I didn't really follow up on it. I was just like, I've said my thing, I'll leave it. But I was like, I'm gonna find your wife. I'm gonna call your wife. I'm gonna tell you about this. Like I said, you know that this is my partner. We all know that you have a partner, and you still do something like this.
Regardless
and he had nothing
anyway.
to say to me. I couldn't believe that that's what it was like. And that's with someone who outwardly is in a relationship and knows that this person has a partner, and it shows.
Probably wouldn't ever get called out for it as well.
No,
because women would just be too afraid to say anything, and they would just think that it's normal. Like, you know, it's just part of the job.
That's the rough part.
So that's the industry. It's not just the expectation that like the agencies put on you. Like the people in these industries are like really, really full on. But some of the best people I've met in my entire life have come through this. So if you do it professionally, you think about the decisions you make, it makes all the difference. And you can do it properly. You can go through the industry and have an incredible time just by making the right decisions. But the problem is there are those who are very naturally gifted and are going to do very, very well in high fashion and commercial modeling that will be picked up by an agency very early, and they will be guided and taken the whole way through professionally the entire time, instead of establishing themselves via social media and then trying to get a professional signing. That's where things have become, you know, risky and diluted, I think.
So can you roll up to a shoot with someone else?
You can.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
generally.
Or if you're worried or whatever, or even if you're not worried, whatever, like you should roll up with, I don't know, a brother, a partner, a parent,
yeah, usually
someone there.
And if that's not welcome, it's usually a massive red flag.
Yeah.
Like there are big professional jobs where you wouldn't need to do that. Like I've done commercial shoots for larger companies and whatever else, and you know, you don't need anyone with you. But with that said, you're on a set with a crew of 30, 40 people, so there's no foul play usually. It's the one-on-one things and the Instagram shoots that you need to be more aware of.
So let's circle over to how we got here from, in terms of like how we met and got here, and then we'll circle back to the current what's happening currently with modeling and you and stuff. So from you talk about the push bike shop twice, same shop.
Yep.
And we met, I swear we met for the first time that we knew we were meeting. Like we went to the same school. I was 3 year levels above Lochie.
What year were you?
14.
What class of 14?
Were you
Yeah,
11?
I was 17.
Same.
Okay,
Were you class of 17 as well?
Yeah.
That's unreal.
So,
Holy moly.
So we probably like saw each other, maybe, I don't know, I don't remember. But anyway, so we formally met at the bike shop. Lochie was selling the shit out of us. He was selling some bike parts. I'm pretty sure we walked in for like one thing. We ended up, you're like, oh no, don't get these and these.
Yeah.
Sold the shit out of us. And anyway, and then one time we were looking for, we wanted to do more content, vlogging and all that sort of stuff. For HUSLA.
Yeah.
This was like 4 years ago, maybe. And
Pre-COVID.
Luke, Marcus's brother, was like, I think you should speak to Lochie. So I'm pretty sure I sent you a message or Mark sent you a message or something.
Yeah, I think Luke asked me and then you got in touch with me. Yeah.
And then that was essentially like we'd met once and we're like, all right, can you like edit and film for us? And I think from memory, you're like, oh, I've sort of like put the tools down a little bit, but I'd be open to, I'd be down to try it out. I think maybe you were like unsure of what we wanted, and then I was like, nah, let's give it a go. You know what I mean? Like we this is our first time. Like don't expect like us to be like expecting like this unbelievable whatever. And then, like, because we were just shit behind the camera as well at the time. And no, you hammered it. You nailed it.
Nah.
Dude, you surpassed our expectations.
Really? Because
Yeah.
I'd put down the camera and, like, because I'd stepped in front of the camera. I was shooting whichever else. I had stopped editing, stopped filming, whatever else. And I had only ever really done mostly montage-based editing. and always shooting wide. And you guys wanted to get me in. We went down to strength culture, and I shot like the craziest montage of lifting weights with like intense music or whatever else. It was.
I think I remember that.
Yeah, it was so full on, and I think it was like, oh yeah, I think you guys were like, oh yeah, this is mad, but like I think the vibe is going to be a little bit different. I was like, oh my god, I butchered it. Like,
No, I think we wanted a little bit more talking from memory.
I think you wanted a vlog, and I thought you wanted a
Like,
montage.
okay.
Yeah, but that would be
Montage.
totally.
Yeah.
That would have been fully my fault because
Yeah.
I would have said, "Give us a montage."
Yeah,
I don't know, maybe.
I'm pretty sure I remember saying, "Give us." Anyway, no, we
It
thought
would've
it
been
was
great.
We thought it was awesome. We
Yeah.
we didn't think that you butchered it. Like,
Oh,
I'm
okay.
guessing maybe you received the feedback as butchering.
Oh, I think I was nervous.
Yeah,
because
nah.
I'd never like other than editing other footage, I'd never like. I don't know. I'd never really had felt a sense of pressure to really deliver the stuff that I was doing outside of me being satisfied with what I've created.
Yeah.
So I edited for the YouTube channel, which was tough, but everything I had was there, and it was very like structured. But yeah, I don't really know, where did we go from there? What was after that video?
Well, one, you thought you butchered it. Two, we came back, which means you didn't butcher it, and we kept getting videos done on a Friday. Remember, you
Oh,
did a
we're doing vlogs.
You did a half day or a full or a day. I can't remember of work for us on a Friday.
Yeah, I think it was a full.
You guys were going to different gyms and
Yeah,
doing vlogs.
we cruised
Yeah.
around to gyms and we were vlogging.
Yeah, HUSLA vlogs.
Yes,
they
and
were
at that
mad.
time you were working at Water Pros.
Oh man, I would have been working all over the joint. I think
I think it was Water Pros.
I was at my family's business,
Yeah.
Water Pros. We've got
Which
an
is-
irrigation,
yep.
an irrigation company.
hit it.
Putting sprinklers in the ground.
Yeah, put swings in on Cochrane's Road, the corner of Cochrane's and Chesterville in Moorabbin. Anything that you guys like, we've done our. Okay, I'm just gonna give him a little bit of a plug here because like, Lockie's about to redo our sprinkler system at home, and add like more pop ups and stuff in there. These are the guys you want to go to. Anyone out there that wants to get pool pumps,
Filters?
garden filter, house filters.
Hold on. Shower filters, whole house filtration. Hold on a second. No, because a few of the boys have gotten onto this, guys. You know that the water that comes through our taps is not 100% like water. There's a whole bunch of shit in it. Lockie's going to be able to jump in here and correct me if I'm wrong, but whole house filtration, we're talking like a box like this big, sits across a fence, plugs into where the mains towards your, in between the mains in your house, and filters all of your water. No, it's unbelievable because, because like now we're getting like more evidence on like your plastics and all that sort of shit, and like we're ingesting that, and we have to drink 2 to 3 liters of
All
water a
that
day.
sort
Like
of
2 to 3
shit.
liters of water a day is like your healthy intake, right? So you want to be getting filtered water in, and most of us, some of us will have a filtered tap, but it doesn't always get used. Like I know at night time I wake up, go to the bathroom, I fill it up from the toilet because we're upstairs, and I'm drinking that, and it tastes weird.
Well, the biggest thing, if you're interested in filtration for your house, here's the biggest point that I like to make to people. Your hair will literally grey slower as you get older because we pull the chlorine out of the water that you drink. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
We filter the entire main system of your house. We do sediment, taste, odor, all of those things. We pull
Break
them
it.
out
What does that mean?
entirely.
Sediment taste water.
So we pull like sediment, microplastics, other things that can get into your water. Like our mains is not clean. They come from reservoirs, whichever else. Theoretically, you could drink them, but we treat our water with different processes. We put chemicals in to tidy certain things up. We put fluoride in.
Yep.
We could go very deep into this, but essentially the filtration that we offer pulls most of that out to try and give you as close to just drinking water that you can get. We are lucky. We have relatively clean water in Melbourne, but it's still not that clean.
Yep.
On top of that, we do reverse osmosis, which can pull fluoride out. But pulling the chlorine out of the water and putting a shower filter in or a whole house filtration.
That's what we just got. We just got one, and my head is no longer itchy.
Yeah.
I always had like itchiness in my hair, flaky skin, like I would get like dandruff, which I never had before. And I'm pretty sure it was from when we moved to the house. Mum and Dad built a house like 8 years ago that we live in now.
Yeah.
And I started noticing all of these things. I'm like, oh, what the hell? I've never had dandruff before, any of that shit. We just got the filter on the top, so it's like a small little filter that just sits above. This isn't full house filtration. This is just a filter for the shower. Sits above the nozzle. Like literally took me 1 minute. Put it in. And my head feels like a million times better.
Yeah,
a million times better.
It's good stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, we do filtration, we do irrigation systems, we do a lot of design for irrigation, so we supply to a lot of landscapers in Melbourne. If you are actually in Melbourne and ever considering doing some form of irrigation, don't go to Bunnings, because we still do okay even though Bunnings exists, because everyone goes to Bunnings, they buy crap, they make mistakes, and then they come to us. Just come straight to us. We design for free. We will educate you on how to do an irrigation system for free. That's what we offer. So if you're ever considering it, come and get advice from us. But yeah, that's a
Bloody
huge.
good at sales.
That's a huge. Yeah, that's a huge plug.
Selling that shit out of everyone.
That's a big plug. But yeah, so oh my gosh, the jobs.
Yep.
I was at Water Pros.
Yep.
I was modeling, doing some acting as well. And then we were doing on Fridays we were doing the vlogs. They were heaps of fun. I was like making a narrative to them. We were doing montages and doing the Sprite challenge and stuff like that.
The only problem was we went at home.
Yeah.
We were in other gyms trying to film. You know, there was music. We couldn't get as good of a result as we wanted. Mona, you can come through.
Mona's coming back in from getting the eFoods order.
So
squeeze through. Suck in, don't knock the camera. There you go, well done.
Yeah, that was the only problem. But we found, like, we even did some stuff at Woolies. We walked around. That's like our highest viewed video.
Yeah. Our 2 best performing videos was the Sprite Challenge video and then walking through Woolies and telling people like what good things to track are, which is a very valuable video, to be fair. And it's also, you know, there's an ability for that to reach a larger audience, like to bring new people into HUSLA as well, because anyone who's into fitness can find that stuff. But our content like changed very quickly as I guess social media has as well. But like everything we've done, if you go back and watch our first vlog, my filming, my editing.
Don't.
the camera I used as well, that was the camera I had from home, like a very basic camera.
Yeah.
It shot 4K, but the sensor was tiny, the colors were terrible in it.
It's in the drawer.
It's in the drawer. It looked terrible. And then we were also terrible on camera. I mean, I wasn't on the camera. I'm talking
My
about
heart was hammering every time the camera was on me. It still does a little bit, but I feel definitely more confident in front of the camera now. But fuck, we started somewhere.
Oh yeah, and you've got to like now. Like I don't look back at it, to be honest. I think back to it, and like I appreciate that's where we started because it like I know you're the same. I can never be satisfied with where I am or what I'm doing.
Never.
I have to be craving more.
Yeah.
So even where we are now, we have incredible equipment. We're in an incredible space. We shoot 4K, high quality. It looks amazing. We got lighting and whatever else. And you guys are all guns on camera. But it's still not enough. Yeah. So thinking back to the stuff that we used to make and how far we've come now, it's like a whole different ball game.
There's more to...
There is so much to come.
There's always better, and if you don't think so, then like you always want to be believing that you can do better, learn more, and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
so. It is important to reflect on how far you've come.
Nah, bugger that, man.
only
once a year.
It is
once a year.
I'm always craving more, like big time. But I realize that it gets to the point so much that I don't. I stop and I don't smell the roses every now and then.
Me too.
And every now and then I stop. I'm like, holy shit, I'm fortunate.
You're just in this state,
I've been trying,
state of dissatisfaction.
Yeah.
And that's actually how you're living life.
Yeah.
If you think about it.
Anthony's hammering me right now.
No, I'm not. Honestly, I really struggle as well.
Yeah,
me
too.
Struggle.
Because me and Lochie smelt the roses last night as well. Like, dude, we're like in the gym. Like we're in this gym. Like a year and a half ago, we were just like going to random gyms. Like
you built this room that we're sitting in.
Yeah.
Like you guys, that's something I always think about. I wish I was around for the build. I wish I saw more of the build. I wish I put some shit together. I don't know where I was. I don't know if I was in Manila or I was full time or I don't know what I was doing. But
remember.
I rocked up the first day we ever checked out this space, and I filmed the first walkthrough.
Yeah.
And then I rocked up like after the gym had opened, and I was like,
really?
"Holy
You're
shit!"
For ages.
Yeah. Because I had Manhunt, like the pageant, and I was traveling for the book covers. So through a lot of the modeling I was doing, most of the work ended up being shooting for like romance novels. Yeah. So like 50 Shades of Grey style books and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, some like one day.
Have you ever read the books?
Pardon?
Do you read the books?
Nah, I don't read books.
That's
to be
none
honest,
of your business. You're just on the front of them.
A lot of people ask, and to be honest, if I had the time to sit down and pick up a new hobby, I think I would. Here's how it works essentially. When I started shooting, there were a few models that I looked up to that had been doing quite well, and some models started selling their photos for book covers, and I was like, this is mad, because when I shoot for a clothing brand or sunglasses or whatever else, I kind of walk in, I'm a mannequin with feelings, I just take the photos and they sell the product and that's it. I didn't feel a sense of accomplishment with the work I was doing because I didn't feel like I was making a positive difference, if that makes sense. But then when the book cover thing came around and I was helping authors bring their like ideas to life,
Giving people boners.
well, I felt like I was part of like a deeper project.
Yeah.
Like these authors were creating like a form of art and the readers really loved what they were reading, and I got to help essentially connect the readers to visualizing the book that they were reading. And I was like, this is mad, and it's something that's going to stick around forever.
Can we get a book cover up in this?
Yeah, I'll put a book cover up on the screen. But
because it makes sense.
yeah, I dreamt of selling a book cover because a lot of the older models were doing quite well. And then COVID hit and I was in relatively decent shape. And then everyone stayed at home and started reading books. And then high school romance became popular and I had a young face. I sold one cover. Then I sold another cover. Then another cover. And then all of a sudden, like in one day, I sold 8 covers. And I couldn't believe what was going on. And within like a year to a year and a half, I sold like over 50 images for book covers, and I was for a period the most sold cover model in Australia.
Wow.
To ever sell books.
Wow.
Yeah, one of my mates, Andy, he I think has sold more now.
And you did some traveling for that too, right?
Yeah, we would travel for like signings, so I would fly out like around the world to author conventions and we would meet the readers and like sign autographs and have a chat to them, and
Were
that
they
was
like obsessed with you?
it was crazy. Like, to be fair, they're there for the author. But like me being there to sign as well, like it just took everything to this.
Because you're the main character in the book,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
But they visualize you when they're the character.
But while this was all happening, like my full-time job, I was still like doing irrigation. I was climbing under Margaret's house and putting pipes together for her. And then the next day I'd be on a plane, like flying to Paris or to America to do a signing convention.
With fanboys and fangirls.
When I first rocked up in America, we had an hour and a half line out the door of the convention to get to us to take photos.
Wow.
And people were bringing their daughters in, like coming, and they were like trembling and shaking, taking photos with me. Like they were like saying, "Oh, like I envy this. I wish I was like you," whatever else. And again, I had the biggest imposter syndrome because I was like, I literally am like, I'm going home in 3 days and I'm going to go do some irrigation and put pipe
Or bin lids.
Or bin lids. I even like at one period, and that was after Manhunt too. Like,
Wow.
But that ties into how the modelling industry works with Australia. Like people think that to be a professional model, you earn like so much money, you're working all the time. Like we are recognised in public for one job, but it's 99% of the time it's no's. And the median income for a full-time model in Australia, those that are actually committed to full-time, is like about 50,000 Australian dollars, which is maybe 30,000 US.
It's just not consistent enough.
It's inconsistent and it's hard. I don't think you can live in Australia comfortably off $50,000.
Unless you're doing really, really well and doing other gigs.
Yeah,
you know?
you've got to be top 1% to be earning quite a lot. And I actually want to talk about Manhunt, the previous pageant that I won.
Tell us about it.
So I got the opportunity in 2022 to fly out and represent Australia in an international modelling pageant. I was like, what's that? Like, what is this? And it was like, they're like, it's like a Miss Universe, but for guys. And I was like, oh my God, I don't know how any of this works. I don't know what to do. I hadn't heard of this thing before. And I got selected. So I trained and got myself ready. And I didn't have, like most other countries, particularly Asian countries, love pageantry, and they get lots of big sponsors behind them. They get Australia, like national directors that organise everything. And I had some support from a friend of mine, Dennis, who organised the pageant for me. He helped me quite a lot getting ready, which is really good. And I just got a suit, packed my backpack, and didn't have anything else. And I just kind of rolled over there to have fun and just enjoy myself, which I think was an advantage because I didn't necessarily have expectation. I couldn't believe that I had the opportunity to go to the Philippines and do a competition and spend 10 days with people from, I think it was 38 or 40 different countries. I met someone from every single corner of the globe, and we got to have the sickest time ever. We toured around on a bus, did shoots and challenges and all that kind of stuff. It was unbelievable. But somehow I managed to win. So I won the
The
international
sexiest
title.
man on the earth, the whole world.
Is that the title of Manhunt?
Nah, that's what I call him. I was going to introduce you as that, but I settled today.
Yeah, so yes, I somehow won Manhunt International.
Somehow.
Look, I got a big imposter syndrome for this. Like,
but you give everything a red hot crack. Like you go 100%. Anything you do it well. That's you to a T. That's why you won. That is literally why you won. Because you pick yourself up when you're down. You go hard at anything you do, no matter what it is, bro. Whether it's from editing someone's freaking irrigation or you're just helping Feta cut down a tree, whatever the hell it is, that's why you won, bro. That's why you won. Because when they got you up there to do all of you can go through the things that they thingoed you on, you would have gone 100%. The other one is you're humble. You know what I mean? Like in the modeling industry, from what I understand, there's a lot of people that are quite arrogant and stuff, and that doesn't come off good. You're a humble person that does everything well, and you're the sexiest man on the earth as well. You know what I mean? But what are some of the things that they judged you on? Because it'd be good to go through them.
The interesting thing is Manhunt is the oldest male pageant that's ever existed. It was the first male pageant. However, they have stayed true to their original values, which is keeping it very close to simply just being a modeling contest. So we do runways, we do sponsored events, we did a lot of photo shoots. There were lots of interviews which weren't a direct judged element of the competition.
But it is.
However, there are always judges watching. So it is a part of it. And there's lots of press and media around all the time. So they're asking us questions and whichever else we're doing.
You had to public speak, didn't you?
Yeah, but not like in front of a big crowd, just in front of a lot of media, which feels like a big crowd, to be honest, when there's 15 cameras staring at you.
Yeah.
And we did a lot of those, and I was comfortable, I was confident and relaxed because I was like, I'm having a sick time. So I was lucky. I also, considering how many different countries there were, I speak fluent English, so it was a big advantage for me.
Yeah.
And I had an amazing experience, and I gave it 100%. I really did give it 100%. And the win was like one of the most incredible feelings of my life. It was so surreal. Like,
And your dad surprised you?
yeah, and so I couldn't believe that. Here's a story. We were coming out of COVID, and every single day of the pageant, every morning, they would test us for COVID. And one of the boys, which country was he in? What country was it? I forget. Anyway, he tested positive for COVID. They would take the test, we'd get on the bus to go to whatever venue we were for the day. And as we got off the bus, they would say, this country, please stay back. And they would disappear. And what would happen was they would take anyone who had COVID, put them on a different bus, send them off to a hotel and isolate them for the rest of the pageant. They disappeared.
Wait, so they couldn't continue?
No, because they had COVID.
Oh,
yeah.
Fuck, that's
And which is, I guess you have to do it, but it was scary. It was like they just disappeared off the face of the earth, no contact, like nothing.
like the Hunger Games.
Yeah, and so we were all terrified of getting COVID. And the night before the world final show, we have the actual judging. It's done behind closed doors, and we do our runways and whatever else. And we had got that done, and that was the night where I felt a lot of pressure, and I felt like there might actually be a chance of getting a half-decent result. And the next morning, we rocked up to rehearsals for the world final, and I saw that when I did my test, that there was a faint line on positive. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to get COVID. I said, this is the story of my life. Something incredible is possibly about to happen, and something has to just snag me.
Yep.
And I was like, there's no way this is real. And we got on the bus, they never said anything, and I was like, okay, I think I'm all good. And I remember seeing, this is hindsight now, I remember seeing staff running around. There was so much kerfuffle happening because little did I know that I had already been chosen as the winner of Manhunt. And then the handlers had come and showed the staff that their winner has COVID. So I'm supposed to disappear off the face of the earth. And they're like, do we cancel, or do we award it to him on the night, or do we disqualify him? They were trying to figure out what to do. I didn't know this at the time.
You were that good that they buried the evidence.
No, well, here's the thing. I got off the bus and they pulled me back. One other boy had tested positive as well, and they pulled me back, and everyone walked off, and I literally watched everyone walk away, and I was like, that's it, it's gone. And so I messaged my family. I was like, I think I have COVID and I'm getting eliminated. And Dad was freaking out. I'm like, why is he freaking out? Little did I know that he was in a hotel next door to the grand final venue, sitting on the curb out in the street. He's like, I just flew all the way out here to the Philippines and now I just got to go home. And they tested me again and it was negative. Thank God.
Wow.
Whether it was a tickle test or whatever else, I felt fine. But that secondary test was negative and I didn't question it. So, but I remember
Did you feel sick?
Nah, I felt okay. I felt sick in the stomach because the food I ate was busted.
Oh.
Yeah, but I wasn't actually sick.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was all going to be taken away from me.
False positive.
Yeah.
They didn't bury it.
No, thank God.
Well,
but after I won,
Incriminating.
I know. Imagine that.
I thought they buried it.
yeah. After I won, I ended up living in the Philippines. I stayed for a while afterwards. Then I went back and lived there for a month. Then I went back and I was there for 3 months.
You were doing editing for us from your laptop.
Yeah, my God. I was doing a lot of it off the iPad as well. So yeah, I spent a lot of time over in the Philippines working there. I did some big jobs, which was fun. But then I also had periods of no jobs, like absolutely no jobs. So a part of winning is you get a contract and you're supposed to go across and do all of this work. And to be fair, the Korean models had become very popular at the time. So they brought a lot of Koreans over and they were getting heaps of work. I started doing some good work. I did a big Christmas campaign for SM Malls, who run like all of the biggest malls in Asia. Massive. Which is a really fun job. And then it sort of dried up and I spent like a month and a half just sitting in my apartment, just playing Xbox. And it was interesting. It felt, I wasn't happy with it. To be honest with you, I cancelled my contract and I came home. So winning a pageant is an incredible feeling. But the one with Manhunt, I think there was an element of bad timing and maybe the industry changed a little bit, but I didn't get the work, I expected from it. But the reign itself and the experience I had and being able to go back to Thailand for the next World Championship that we had and mentor the boys and see the next person win.
You were a judge?
Yes. Yeah, I was like if it came to a tie, then they would refer to my votes to make a decision.
Wow.
That was the most important part of it for me. Yep. So, I don't know, there's been some questions in regards to, obviously I've just announced that I'm competing at Mr. World.
Yeah.
So exciting.
This is the now.
Yeah.
This is the now. So the now Lochie's about to go for 3 weeks on the 5th.
Yep.
And he's going to Mr. World, which is another beauty pageant.
Yep. This is a monster, this one. Yeah. Manhunt was 10 days and that was more...
Purely modelling, right?
Purely a modelling competition. Yeah. This is... We do fitness challenges. We do closed-door interviews. This is very thorough. It's longer as well. And I think there's going to be possibly up to 70 countries competing. It's a lot.
70?
Yeah, 70.
70.
Yeah, I saw the other day it could be that many.
We are currently shredding.
Yes.
We are getting Lochie in the best shape of his life.
Nice.
Lochie's been cutting for 5 weeks now. No, literally, Lochie is going to...
Every night
Lochie has
he's
been going
Do you
hard.
reckon I could fit Guzman?
Yeah.
We're bringing an unseen package to this stage, right?
I am actually excited. I think I might not be as lean, but the physique, the shape will be better. You reckon I'll be as lean as well?
When you have more muscle, you appear leaner as
True.
well.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to be heavier. I was like 70, 77 competing at Manhunt. No legs, no butt.
Yep.
No shoulders and not a lot of arms. I was all chest and abs.
And we've been doing arm specialization
Yes.
and lower body as well. There's the 2 focus points.
I'm very, very, very excited for this one. It's going to be very intense.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of people have, not a lot, I've seen a lot of comments and a lot of people talking about me doing another pageant. This is pageant fans, like overseas, saying that it's very greedy for me to go for another pageant after winning an international title. To be honest, I didn't consider this initially at the start. Like it was never in my mind. Like I've won one, I should go for 2 and try and make a bag or anything like that. Pageantry for me has always been about the experience. And that was my intention going into Manhunt, was to have an experience and challenge myself. And Mr. World, for me, feels like a bigger challenge, a longer challenge, and an opportunity to meet more people.
And a big experience just in another country.
So I feel sorry that people think that, you know, I'm being greedy. And a lot of people say there's no way you'll win because they want new winners. They don't want people who have taken an international title before. I understand that. But I measure success not through victory. I measure success through experience. So having the opportunity to go and do something like this, like no one in the world usually gets an opportunity to go paid overseas to meet so many different people from so many walks of life and have an experience like this where they get to challenge themselves, have memories that they will remember for the rest of their life. And that's what's most important about doing another pageant to me.
I think also, like, probably the most important thing is what you're actually going there to do. Like, I know that you have a foundation, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
You're going to do something bigger than just compete at this event, right?
Yeah, I want to format this around.
You don't want to. You already are.
Well, yeah, it's the Lift the Weight campaign I'm doing, and it's in regards to trying to promote and advocate for men's mental health.
Yep. This is bigger than just you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And you know, a big part of my reign through Manhunt when we had the next competition was advocating to the boys about being present and enjoying the experience that they were having, regardless of the result. But I want to advocate that, you know, people can do anything they put their minds to. And Mr. World for me is about preaching that to people. And if I can preach that and have a good experience myself, that's a victory enough for me. It doesn't have to be another world title in order for me to feel like I've accomplished something with going to Mr. World.
No matter what happens, you're going to accomplish something, I think, that is amazing. It's deep, it's caring, it's like on brand for you 100% from a mental health standpoint. It's the focus, I believe, is you want to bring awareness to men's mental health, and regardless of the results, regardless if you get COVID and get shifted off or whatever it is, you're going to achieve that regardless.
Yeah, I think,
which is the most important thing.
It is the most important for me because I don't know. I don't think it's talked about enough, and I mean that's, I guess, the cause of the entire problem is I want men to feel like they can reach out and get help, but I also want men to feel like they can ask their mates like if they're okay.
I think it's important, to from that mental health standpoint for blokes out there, being, you know, you and me are two dudes, is that, you know, everyone says reach out when you're feeling shit. I think it's very damn important to flip the tables and say that if you are a man out there or a woman or whatever, check in on your other male mates, because it's hard to reach out when you're in those lows. In those lows, people tell you to go and meditate and go and do this and go and do that. Bloody bullshit. Like, it's not going in. It's not. You're not understanding it from that standpoint. And Anthea's spoken about this before. I think it's your obligation as a male or a woman in this world that has people around you to check in on them, even if you're 100% okay. I think it's a two-way street, because we know as men we're not going to, as often as we should, put our hands up and reach out. And I know you and I have had many discussions about our mental health, and we have that bond and we have that relationship, and our inboxes are always open to people out there, and we do ask twice. You know, we do ask twice, and that's something that we want to do here at HUSLA. We are, you know, always looking for something to, you know, donate to from mental health. If any of our members are doing any big feats of like strength or endurance or anything like that, we try and donate for those better causes. But I like to think that we live by that, and I like to think that that's something that we want to continue to do. But I also know that that is something that doesn't happen in this world. It is rare to have, you know, your mates really check in on you, or for you to really be honest and be like, yeah, man, like I'm honestly just, I don't know why, I'm just a bit depressed, you know. And we do that, but we, like, a lot of people do not, and the majority do not. And I think it's important what you're doing right now, because you're going to really, I think, put a real dent in that, you know, and try and shift that into a more positive sort of.
I hope so.
Yeah, no, you will.
I want to inspire people to like believe that they're capable of doing stuff like this. You know, I never thought in a million years I would ever do anything like this. And I'm not saying like be a pageant winner or anything like that, but
Advocate.
Yeah, and be in a position where I can just believe in myself. It's as simple as that at the end of the day. For so long in my life, I never considered myself someone who would be capable of victory or success, because I'm just like, this is not who I am. It just doesn't happen. I do okay with things, but I never considered myself possible of winning or achieving something really, really great. And I'm upset that I used to think like that, because that was the only thing that held me back. And I want to try and inspire the boys at the pageant and other people that I advocate to that you are capable of so much more than you think that you are. And if you're struggling, it is okay, you know, not to be okay as well.
Yep.
You know, we can always try and control our internal emotions and internal things, but we can't always control what's happening externally in our life. I mean, we've all had, you know, interesting years. You can look at it two ways. I've had the worst year of my life with loss in the family and everything else. But in terms of, you know, career stability and work and everything else, it could also be the best year of my life. So it's been difficult for myself even trying to figure out where I sit in, am I happy with how the year's gone? Am I unhappy with how the year's gone? But I found that trying to ground myself, keep myself healthy and do the things that I had set up from a very long time ago to look after myself has helped me sort of guide my way through. But I haven't done it alone. You know, earlier in the year, I lost my stepmom in a motorcycle accident, and the only thing that got me through everything, and my dad and my family, was the fact that everyone was around each other. So the most important thing is realizing the people that are around you, but also realizing when it's your turn to be that person around them as well. Yep. I'm good. I'm okay. It's just a lot. But I'm so grateful for the people that are around me, like my community, my family, my friends. Like, it's impossible without them. So for me, it's important to make sure that other people can experience that through their friends and through their family. So if I can be that to someone, then, you know, I'm happy. Yeah. So forgive me, I didn't mean to get
upset. You're allowed to cry, bro.
Yeah.
You're allowed to feel your feels, you know what I mean? It's at the end of the day, it is fucking horrific what happened. And, you know, a lot of people experience loss where they know it's coming. Someone's getting old or they're sick. That's how most people experience loss. And in the rarer cases, people are torn away from you and you don't expect it. And that's what happened, right? And that's...
And how do you cope with something like that? It's just, there's no right or wrong, you know? Like, it's just traumatic.
It shows that, you know, we're never going to be in charge of everything. We're never going to be in control of everything. And that's why, you know, again, it's important to have people around you so that when things like that do happen, and it'll happen to everyone.
But even for those who don't have people around them, there's also lots of like helplines and you know, lifelines and stuff, because I feel like the whole thing with men's mental health is that there is a really big stigma, and in, you know, a lot of men might feel like they actually don't, they have lots of friends around them, but it's maybe not okay for them to not be okay or open up. So how do you think that or even from the perspective of maybe those men wanting to be there for their mates, but then not even knowing how to guide the conversation or support them as well.
Ask twice. Ask how you're doing, and then ask again. I mean, like I think if I like to feel that it's my obligation as a friend to be there for my friends. So I think if you are trying to look out for your mates, which everyone should be, male or female, ask them how they're doing, you know, make sure it's the right time as well. And then ask again, like, just, you know, but how
Follow
are
up.
you doing? You know, how are you? How are you feeling? You know, if you know they're going through something or they've gone through something, check in, you know what I mean? And like really make an effort to make them feel like they can speak to you. I think it's hard to speak to someone that's not doing what they need to do to allow you to open up, you know what I mean? So you've got to also step into that person that can be trusted and can be a listener and can be there for your friends.
Judgment free zone as
Yeah.
well.
Judgment free. Look, we've all not felt okay, and like everyone's. We spoke about this the other day. Like everyone's experienced like a grand final loss, and that's like you said, like gut wrenching, you know, and that like. Yeah, you were probably depressed for the day. You probably felt shit. The next morning, you were probably low. We've all experienced some level of depressive thoughts. We've all gone, well, most of us, majority of people have probably gone through a breakup, a loss of a family member, whatever it is, from a grandpa to maybe even closer. So we've all felt that. And we all know what it feels like to feel out of control of your emotions. And like, if you think that you haven't felt that, like, you're full of shit. Like we've all experienced it. You know what I mean? And we've got to remember what that feels like, and then we've got to remember, okay, all right, look, I know what that feels like. Let's check in on the boys. You know what I mean? Just occasionally, periodically, just see how everyone's doing. You know?
I think as well, it can be when you're watching someone go through a really hard time. A lot of the time, you just want to give them solutions and tell them what to do. But
This is a big one. This is a big one. Yeah.
you should listen. Just listen to them. Let them speak. It can also really help with their autonomy. Again, coming back to that, asking them, okay, what do you think you need right now for you to get out of this? Because there's nothing worse than being told advice that you don't.
She's staring at me.
No, I do it so much as well.
Sometimes the advice is like, hey, do you even fucking know me? And it's like, you're just in such a deep place as well, where it almost feels more frustrating. It can make you feel even more like not heard and not seen. So I think listen as much as you can, try and guide conversations and ask them what they think they need.
Yeah.
This is what Anthea's really good at.
Yeah.
Really good at.
Well, some of the like biggest reliefs I've ever had with everything that's been happening is not people giving me anything. They literally were just saying that they are here for me.
Yeah.
That's all that it was. Like it was literally just that. There was no big conversations that we weren't trying to decipher or like set on a hypothesis and a solution to anything. My mates just called me and told me that they were here for me. And that's all I needed. I don't know how to explain it. It was like a massive sigh of relief everything just felt better. I don't know how to explain it. I just felt like I wasn't alone with what I was feeling. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
So that was the biggest thing ever. And it can be just as easy as saying that you are there for someone, or you understand, or you're here for someone when they are going through something.
You
and
can
that
validate their feelings as well.
Yeah. Even if you just tell your mates that you love them, like every now and then, like, you know, I love
it's
you,
huge.
bro. You know what I mean? Like something like that. For someone that feels lonely or they don't feel love in their life or they've gone through stuff and they just feel like it's them against the world or whatever, you know, like just a bit of love is, you know, goes a long way sometimes, you know, and people might laugh at, you know, us boys saying to each other, I love you. Go fuck yourself.
No, it's the
I'm going
best
to tell
feeling
the
in the
boys
world.
I fucking love them.
Yeah.
Because I love my boys. I love my girls. I love my family, you know, and I love the listeners. But you know what I mean? Like, fuck what anyone thinks, you know, be there for your mates, you know.
It's the best feeling in the world. Literally, it's the best feeling in the world.
Yep.
So if I can spread that through competing at Mr. World, win or lose, I'm a happy man.
There's no if to that, bro. There's no
I'm
if to that.
I'm there to just enjoy myself. I'm there to challenge myself. And if I can make a positive difference to one person, whether it is one of the boys at the pageant or it's someone in the crowd watching or it's someone on social media, then I'm a happy man.
Question. So that first breakup after high school, I'm sure you probably felt like your world was over. It was never going to end and you felt like shit. And then that built resilience and habits and stuff. And now what are some of the things that you learnt through that period of time that you live by these days to keep yourself, you know, to pick yourself up when you fall down and stuff?
Yeah. This is definitely my personal experience with it,
Yep.
and the way I've moved through it. To be like, long story short, fitness changed everything for me. And as I said earlier in the podcast, I got into fitness so that I could make myself tired to go to sleep. But when I became more healthy and I invested time in looking after my physical health, I'm not just saying everything changed. Everything changed. It was like the whole world brightened up. I had energy. I felt like, I said to you earlier, Anthony, it was like going from living in a dirty room to walking into a clean one. When my body was in good shape, I was eating properly, I was getting sleep, and I was just disciplined with looking after myself physically. It changed everything for me. It meant that any troubles that came across my mind, I just felt tidy and prepared to deal with anything. I could think clearer. I mean, eating better will literally make you think clearer as well. And I realized that the solution for me was, no matter what I was going through in my life, if I looked after my physical health, it helped me so much looking after my mental health, because exercise literally releases chemicals, dopamine, serotonin, that make you feel better. So I was actually healing myself simply through exercising, and that's just one part of the benefits of exercising. So I think exercise is incredibly important for a lot of people. I think for anyone to build a foundation. I mean, we work so hard in our lives to have an incredible job, have a good-looking car, and whichever else. But some people, and I think it's important to focus on ourselves, like our bodies are a temple, for example, something like that.
I saw this thing the other day, and someone said that, what kind of fuel do you put into your car? You put in the best that you can. You know, you're not gonna, when it says 95 or above, you're not gonna put below. I mean, some people might, but I don't.
Straight to 98.
Yeah. Well,
And
that's
what do we do the same thing for our bodies? No.
No. There is a whole problem with accessibility. Like living in the Philippines, the cheapest food, the easiest food to buy, and the most accessible to people was fast food shit. Buying good quality foods, whole foods and whatever else was very difficult, and it was expensive. So it's kind of sad to see that to live a healthy lifestyle and eat whole foods and healthy foods is actually more expensive than eating shit, which is sad.
I think it's a little bit off topic from the food thing, but when you're in those times where you feel like, you know, you can't get up, you're in bed, you're doing nothing, like you said that you were for that 3 months after the breakup. Fitness is one thing that's going to release your endorphins and all that sort of stuff, but it could be as simple as just going for a walk and getting up and just proving to yourself that I can get out of bed. I can change the way that I feel because I got out of bed, because I completed that task, because I then smelt the fresh air and I moved my body. And then when I got back, I actually felt a sense of relief and I felt better.
Accomplishment.
You know, just the smallest thing.
Smallest
It could be
thing.
as simple as
Having a shower, brushing your
having
teeth.
a shower, brushing your teeth.
Making yourself a nice meal.
Yes.
Yeah.
Really, really simple things. And like, let's not go like morning routine crap. Like just get up, do your shit that you need to do. But it could just be like that you have a little bit of a routine when you're in those states to get yourself back into the rhythm of,
Taking care of yourself.
Yeah. Like for some people, not for me, but for some people, it's making their bed. You know, just get up, make your bed, make some food. Maybe you still stay home, whatever, but just do that a little bit more. For you, it was like going to the gym.
Yeah.
Right. And indirectly, like it would have been like you would have proved to yourself you can get up, you can do stuff, you can complete things, you're actually functional. And the fitness was making you feel better.
Dad used to come up to me like in the mornings and like try and get me out of bed, and I would never get out. And I realized now that he was right. That was definitely the first step, was just not laying in bed all day.
But sometimes it just feels so overwhelming. So I think that 2 questions that I like to tell myself, or I tell this to my clients as well, when you're struggling, is just asking yourself, okay, what's gone well today so far? And it could be as simple as getting out of bed, having a shower, making a nice meal, whatever.
Or just
And
having a good thought.
What's one thing that I can do to make myself feel even 1% better?
Yeah.
So you're not trying to feel perfect and just completely bypass how you're feeling. You're just trying to make yourself feel 1% better. And I feel like
Compound
those 2 questions really, really help.
Yep. Yeah, and you keep doing those things and compounding them, and you will have days where you struggle to even do those things. And it's like the gym and trying to improve your bench press. Like, you're not just going to linearly improve. Like, you're not just going to like add a kilo a week or 2.5 kilos a week. You know, have weeks where you go down a little bit and then up and then down and then up. Welcome to life. You're going to feel good. You're going to feel shit. You can't feel good without feeling shit. You know, you don't know what good feels like if you don't feel the lows, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So don't expect it all to just come together like that and get better and better and better and better. Your general trajectory should be up if you're doing these little things that you notice making you feel better. But if you feel one time it goes back in the other direction one day, don't throw it all away.
Don't be afraid of it.
When you're stuck in that, though, it feels like that's how you've been forever as well.
Yeah, it feels like
You're like, I've been depressed for months.
I have a tattoo on my foot and they're little footprints. And it's 1 step backwards and 2 steps forwards.
Yep.
And I preach that, tell people that all the time.
Yep.
Like, it honestly, it teaches you perspective. You know, if everything is always up for us, then we're going to get hung up on small things. I'm not saying it's essential for us to all go through horrible times, but it's usually inevitable for us to go through, you know, tough times. But it teaches us an appreciation of when things are good. You know, now I am so fortunate for just the little things like in day-to-day life, and I'm very appreciative of them because I've had a vast range of experiences. But that also tells us that depending on the kind of life that you've lived, different things are gonna make us feel upset. Different things are gonna make us feel happy. It just depends on what we're used to experiencing. So for some people, like you said, you know, when you're a kid and you have a grand final and you lose your grand final, that is a horrible feeling, and that's a real emotion. Some
Even
people,
if you're an adult and that happens, like, it doesn't matter what it is that made you feel shit. If you're feeling shit, you're feeling shit. Like, there's no shame in what made you feel shit, you know?
Some people bottle up pain that they're going through because they think, oh, well, this person's gone through something worse, so I'm not allowed to be upset. You are absolutely allowed to be upset, and you're absolutely allowed to not be okay. Suffering is subjective, I guess, to each person. People will deal with different situations in different ways. Yeah, I think it's important, not to bottle things up if you think that it's not that bad compared to what other people have experienced. If it means something to you, then it's going to upset you. So it's important not to hide that.
Or because you feel like you don't have the time or capacity to like let it go as well. That's
most of
thing.
us blokes will bottle shit up.
Yeah.
Like, we want to be the rock in our relationships. We want to be seen as the people that have it together, and whether we do or don't, we believe that we can handle it on our own. That's just a common, like, I'm sure women as well, but you know, there's definitely a stigma for men to be like that, and I know that I'm like that. You know, I talk to a few people about how I'm feeling and stuff, and they're the people that I open up to, and they open up to me. You know, I don't tell everyone, oh, I'm having a shit one, or oh, I'm feeling depressed today, or I'm really stressed about this and it's making me feel shit. Don't get to tell every freaking person under the sun. You know, you'll have a little support network. If you don't, like, you can find one. You know, but we generally suffer from that, and you know, I don't know if this is right or wrong, but sometimes I feel that it's my obligation to be the rock, to have it together as a male, and sometimes that even makes me feel better. I don't know if that's right or wrong, but sometimes it makes me feel better knowing that I wore that on the chin, and I can handle that. And then there's other times where I'm like, no, I think I need to talk to someone about this. You know, the other day you came into my office, and I can't remember what was going on. I think I'd worked like fucking stupid hours for a while, and got in. I was like to you, I remember I said, I'm like, fuck, I feel pretty shit, eh? You're like, what's wrong? I'm like, I'm just depressed. I think it lasted a day or two. I think honestly straight after that, like, I think that night it was gone. I think just saying it was like enough
of relief.
Just to say to you, and you just sat there and we spoke for a little bit, and then I swear that night it was like gone. And I was feeling it from the night before and that night, and I'd drive home after a long day and I'm tired, and usually I'm like really happy, like, we fucking slammed it today, like we did really good work, you know, had good chats with the boys, we're doing good things at HUSLA, we're making a difference, like, and I feel good. And then there's other times I'm like, shit, I'm actually like a little bit depressed, and that happens, you know. It used to happen more when I was younger and I didn't know how to talk and to process my emotions, but that day I just said it to you, and I felt a million times better that night.
But I think identification is like just simply like acknowledging that it's there is like one of the biggest parts of it.
Some
But
people
also
don't know they're
allowing
depressed.
yourself to feel it as well.
Yeah.
So not just intellectualizing it and be like, okay, I feel this because of this, but actually like if you feel shit, you feel shit. And then speaking about it with someone can also really help. Or for me, it's crying.
She cries.
Which Jason's like, why are you crying? He doesn't like seeing
I don't
me
like
upset.
her crying 'cause it
like,
makes me sad.
I'm like, I have to do this to like process the emotion and move through it. And oftentimes I'll have a cry and then I'm like, all right, I'm over it. Just like, you know, with your chat to Lochie, just processing that emotion and understanding it and feeling it can oftentimes help you move through it.
I rarely cry, and a lot of men probably don't as well. And for me, it just doesn't, like, it's weird. Like, I can cry in a sad movie, and then I cry when something's really bad. So when I see someone else crying, I'm like, fuck, they must be feeling really, really bad. And it makes me feel bad, you know?
Yeah, I struggle with that. I can't.
Crying?
Yeah, when people are upset.
Yeah.
I struggle. I just don't want. I just don't
feel
want them to be
feel
upset.
I feel it too much, and then I'm like, don't cry, don't cry. And then Anthony's like, don't tell me to stop crying. And I'm like, fuck. It's coming from a good place, but it's not the right thing to say.
That's unbelievable.
But yeah, so some people don't even know that they're depressed sometimes, you know. You know, they live that life where they, you know, stay indoors, or they don't say yes to certain things, and they shy away from social events. And some people don't even notice, well, hey, maybe you're like a little bit depressed, you know. Maybe this is just the outcome of you feeling depressed, you know. Yeah, I think it's important to note that, like, you know, you might not realize it, and there's things that you can do. I
think people, like, they think that it's like depression is like one single problem caused by a certain amount of things, but it's more so, in my opinion, it feels kind of like a state of mind, which can come from so many different things in life. And I think people either avoid identifying that they might be in that kind of state of mind, or they think, no, it couldn't happen to me. I couldn't be feeling depressed, because they feel like it's like a full, you know, you get a clinical diagnosis for MDD or some form of depression, and they think, oh, well, now I have it. I have you know, this strong sickness. But I think it can be caused by so many different things. Even if, you know, you feel like you're at a lull spot in your life, or missing a sense of direction, or something's happened in the family, it doesn't take much for those feelings to come through. And I think people avoid and are in denial of that something like that is happening, and they're afraid of admitting that they might just feel like that, because I think I want people to understand that it's normal to feel that way.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just a part of life.
There's also, sorry,
go,
interrupting.
yeah.
I have found as well, there's a lot of shame that comes up. So if I am feeling that way, I almost, even if you are starting to realize, oh my God, I actually am, you know, a bit depressed or feeling quite anxious, there's so much shame that comes up, and you start shaming yourself. Like, why are you feeling like that? You've got so much to be grateful for. You've got a great job, great partner, blah, blah, blah. Why are you feeling like that? And then you start shaming yourself and making yourself feel even worse on top of it. And yeah, it's like you said, it's completely normal to go through these periods where you may not be completely okay. And that's the whole thing that we're trying to...
I want to say, like, the best thing that you can do is, speaking from experience, is to go to a psychologist. Now, there's definitely a stigma around psychologists, and everyone thinks you're weak for going and this and that, and it's usually the older generations who are a bit more hardcore, you know, they're like very traditional. There's nothing wrong with it. I've gone. I actually emailed my psych, because I stopped for financial reasons whilst we built the gym. So I emailed my psych like a month and a half ago. I said I want to come back. I initially went because I initially emailed them because I was depressed coming out of lockdown. I just felt like shit. You know, we were doing such good things with the business. Like, it was growing. Everything was going well. From the outside, it'd be great, but I just felt shit. So I ended up feeling a lot better. before I even went to her. So by the time I got off on the way, I had a specific psychologist. She was that I wanted to go to. She was an organizational psychologist for business owners, and that was like her specialty. And I wanted to go to someone that can help me to be better with my organization, help me from a business standpoint, and all that sort of stuff. Because that's where I felt like I was losing. I was like, I'm sort of like, I'm not on time to things. I'm struggling to like plan things, and that was making me like depressed, as well as just not being able to see my mates as often and all that sort of stuff during lockdown. So I ended up feeling a lot better after that, due to just some medication that it was honestly, like everyone knows, like a TRT, I'm prescribed TRT. I had low testosterone, like I'm just going to come out and say it. So I started TRT, and that made me feel a whole bunch better. That was before I even went to the psychologist. Now, for anyone that doesn't know what TRT is testosterone replacement therapy. So I had low testosterone. Now I don't. Anyway, that made me feel a whole lot better. Now, I felt sweet, but I still went. And it was probably the best thing I've ever done. And I'm trying to get back in. Just got a wait list. So I'm trying to get back in and go again. And there are a lot of people in my family and my friendship group that are just like, nah, not for me. And I can tell that they're depressed. I know that they're depressed. We talk about how they're depressed and they can't help themselves, and they've been trying to help themselves for years. And I'm still doing what a good friend and family member does, to reach out to them and see how they're doing. But they still have this issue with going, nah, not for me. You haven't gone.
You don't know.
Go suss it. And, and just like there's shit physios and PTs out there, there's probably also shit psychologists out there too. So if you had a bad experience, try again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
I just see it as like a mental mindset coach as well.
Yeah, that's very true.
We pay PTs and coaches to help us with our physical body. Why wouldn't you get someone who understands the human mind and social
so
psychology and everything to such an amazing degree, and they get to know you and they can just give you advice?
Any other industry, anything else in life, we're like, oh, we'll go to the professionals. But as soon as it comes to mental health, we're like,
embarrassing. Can't do that.
Yeah. Oh. You get a coach to build your muscles. You get a nutritionist to help with your nutrition. You get an electrician to fix your lights, but you don't get a psychologist to help with your mind.
It's crazy.
If you think your mind's bulletproof, there's always more you can squeeze out of it. Just like there's always more bicep curls you can do to grow that bicep. Honestly, like if you think you've clocked it, like just... Nah, no one's clocked it. We're all still learning. We're all still growing. We're all still going to feel there's bad shit that's going to happen to all of us. We're going to feel like shit in the rest for parts of our life moving forwards. We're going to feel the highs as well. What I noticed was that when I went through all that and she taught me some things and we spoke about certain things, I got to feel the highs even better from it. She taught me how to feel the highs better, and how to sort of not stop the lows from coming on, but how to manage them. So they're not going to come and fix you and be like, you're never going to feel depressed again. Like, sorry. That's a dream. That's a fairy tale. That's not happening. But how to manage them, definitely. And then also, like I said, how to feel the highs as well. Like, I just think that I've just gained so much from going, and I highly recommend anyone out there goes. You've got nothing to lose except for money. And if you lose money to that and you feel like you actually lost money to that, then you didn't learn anything, I will be surprised. Because if you spend money and you learn something from it, you haven't lost money. Highly recommend.
No, I absolutely agree. I have a couple of questions that some people have put through that I want to answer in regards to Mr. World.
Yep.
Let me see if I can pull something up.
Yep, let's do it. And then we got the giveaway.
Alrighty, so I had just a couple of quick questions. A lot of people were asking how I ended up getting scouted for Mr. World. So I want to give a quick shout out to Johnny, Kristen and Alex, of course. They're the team that have been getting me ready for Mr. World this year. I actually didn't see the message when they were trying to reach out and get me on board with Mr. World. So for so long it was sitting there and I hadn't noticed it. And Johnny had actually found a mutual friend who I'd done a runway with like years and years ago, and messaged me out of the blue. I was like, what the heck? Anyway, we started talking and she put me through to the team, and I met the crew. And we've been working sort of behind the scenes to get everything ready very, very, very quickly. And the last question I had here that I'll pull up is, did I have time to relax during Manhunt? Not really. Pageants definitely don't work like that. You're on very strict timelines and schedules. It's even worse for the ladies' pageants. Our worst night was 15, 20 minutes of sleep allowed before our call time. Like, you literally don't stop. It's crazy. You get time on your phones when you're on the bus going here and there, but in terms of like downtime and rest, not really.
Yep.
Once the World Final's done, you can. The ladies pageants, like Miss Grand International is happening at the moment. Miss Universe has been a lot of talk about that. Those pageants go for nearly a month, and every single day those girls are up there. Call times like 2, 3 a.m. They spend 3 hours in makeup. They have buses of makeup teams getting them ready, and then off they go. Not just in whatever clothes, in like the most impressive gowns ever. They do not rest. They do not sleep. I don't know how they make it through. But pageantry is psychological warfare. If you're really committed to trying to push for a win, you need to be very mentally strong because you will be exhausted. You're not going to eat a lot. You're barely going to sleep. You're going to be pushing yourself and trying to perform to the best of your ability while not getting much rest at all. But that's why I love it, because it's crazy. It's a good challenge. But it definitely, like, you watch as the pageant goes on, a lot of, at least, and for the men as well, a lot of the boys drop off and they lose. They drop out because they can't hack it, which is understandable. It's a lot. And if you haven't done a pageant before, you got no idea what you're in for, particularly an international one. But I say that, but I bow down to the girls that do international pageantry, because that shit is crazy. It's crazy. So we're lucky. I just wake up and like brush my hair and like put some moisturizer on and I'm like, let's go.
So what you're telling me is we're working you to the bone to the day you leave, and then you're going to get work to the bone when you get there as well.
Yeah, there will be no sleep, no rest, anything until...
Before, during, and after.
I think, I swear, the next actual minute I will have of like rest, pure rest, will be either while I'm asleep, once I've fallen asleep, or after November 24th, after the World Final.
No, there'll be like a couple of weeks after that as well.
Yeah, true.
Because we were laughing about it yesterday. You get back here, you got filming booked in literally the week you get back.
Yeah.
Editing, it'll probably be a couple of weeks after.
Straight back to work.
Like he's got a hectic 2 months coming up.
Oh my days! This time of year is always crazy. It's always crazy. The middle of the year for me is quiet. It's cold. It gets darker early. None of my family has their birthdays. Summer for me is chaos. We have silly season, busy period. The sun's out. Everyone wants to be active. All of my family have their birthdays through summer. Wow. Like my best mate Matt, his birthday is the 4th of November. Then my dad is the 8th of December. And then I'm the 20th of December. Julia was the 1st of January. My brother was the 14th of January. And my mum was the start of March. So it's the craziest time of year. I love it because the sun's out. I feel mad. But it's a lot. But I'm keen for it. I'm super keen. I'm keen for what we're going to be doing here soon as well. So we've been cooking here.
The New Year's get pregnant vibes were big for your grandparents.
Big time, yeah. I don't know what they were doing.
January to March,
they were busy.
Wait,
It's on.
Valentine's Day?
February 14th.
Yeah, it's possible. Yeah, it's definitely possible.
A pregnancy is 9 months. It's not 12 months.
They were cooking.
They were cooking. They were cooking for sure. Absolutely.
So I was laughing the whole time about, I got to say it.
Oh, that's so good.
So without further ado, is that even the right thing to say? I don't know. I just hear it on a lot of things.
I don't know what it means.
Neither.
Adieu.
I think it means like you're holding off on something and then
without making your way
without further waiting, maybe.
Yeah.
Adieu.
Yeah.
Yeah, the French word, yeah. We're doing the giveaway.
There's more.
We got
like double entries.
Yeah, there's a lot of entries
this week.
So this he just dropped all of them out. So this is for
Free jumper
the
consultation.
OPR hoodie and the consultation. So,
With Marcus Swan.
Yes.
Lochie?
Oh, it's me. Yes.
Yeah,
Be
you've got to pick it.
Oh, okay. Give it a shake. All right, here we go. Pulling the first one I see out. Justin T. Turning that around so you can see.
Let's go.
Justin T.
Is that Todd?
Well
Justin,
done.
I mean, no, it's not.
No,
That's
not
Justin Allen. I've butchered that. So I was. Should I? No.
Nah, don't tell that story. Don't. Congratulations, Justin
Congratulations,
T, on
Justin
winning.
Let's
Marcus
go.
will be reaching out to you shortly.
That's
Thank you so much for watching and entering.
Yeah.
Well done, dude.
Giveaway.
Now your giveaway.
Yes.
I mean, you can do it.
So I'm going to be giving away, as I was saying earlier, a free reel. I'll edit it for you. I'll film it for you.
Color graded, captions, this, that.
We'll upscale it.
Upscaled.
Yeah.
It'll be like you'll get 4K on Instagram quality,
That's
you know, because Lockie's got the tricks for that. Not many people do. What else? Sound design, all that sort of jazz. It's going to be like.
We'll do it all. Yeah, and if you don't have content exactly to produce and you just want to learn, then we'll sit down and we'll cook something together, and I'll teach you some of the ways I edit things, which I'm really keen to do. I love showing that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Now, pardon me, I have the hiccups. To enter, have a listen to the podcast on Spotify. Have a listen on YouTube, wherever it is. Screenshot it. Send it to me at HUSLA_media. I will put you into the running.
Post it on the story and then send it to you.
Post it on your story. That's right.
Yep.
Tag it on your story and then send it to me, and I will put you in the running. I've heard you say that many times.
Yep.
I wanted to give it a crack.
Yeah, he's edited me butchering it a couple of times. I love it. Have I butchered it? No.
No, you've done
I don't butcher
very
anything ever.
No.
Anyway, shall we?
Yep.
Thank you for watching, guys. Please like, comment,
Lochie.
subscribe on YouTube. Give us 5 stars on Spotify. Do all the good stuff. If you guys have questions, you guys want us to talk about anything in particular, please drop it below. Shoot us a message, whatever it is. We would love to answer your questions and bring you the content that you guys want. Now that we have introduced the whole team here at HUSLA, it is essentially on to the next phase of this podcast, which will be probably a little bit of discussion amongst the HUSLA boys, and then a little bit of discussion amongst the Thrive girls in separate videos. And then we've got guests lined up. If you're listening, you want to be a guest, shoot us a message. We'll see if you make the... No, I'm joking. But thank you guys for watching. On to the next. We will catch you in a couple of weeks, probably a week or two. Thank you, Lochie, for the deep discussion.
Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah.
It's been a G up.
Yep.
Yeah, it's been really good. So thank
and
you, guys.
Let's see you on the Mr. World stage.
Let's do it.
I can't wait. I can't wait. I'm gonna be cheering from here.
I'm
Let's see if we can get the boys that watched you win the last one at home, the reaction. Let's see if we can get that on at the end here.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll put that up.
Yeah, sick. That's the boys supporting the boys. Let's go.
Thank you, guys.
All right.
Thank
And don't
you.
forget, reach out to your mates, send them some love, tell them you love them, and check in on them. All right, guys? Lots of love. Enjoy.
Much love.
Thanks for listening.
See you guys.